Now to campaign 2020, Billerica resident John Paul Moran is taking on incumbent Seth Moulton for his 6th Congressional District seat. That area encompasses most of the North Shore as well as parts of Middlesex County. The candidate joins us now here. And John, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you, Anaridis.
Let's start with, why are you running? You're calling yourself an opportunity Republican. What does that mean?
Well, because I believe the purpose of government is delivering opportunity for everyone. It's been the motto that I've been using since I wrote a book in 2016 where I suggested that perhaps the GOP should consider an update to its brand from the Grand Old Party to the Grand Opportunity Party. And from there, I've talked with people all over the country, to college kids and college campuses. And really, it's not so much of a left versus right thing. Often it's people want opportunity. And that's what I think that the government should be delivering on all levels.
You are a small business owner. How do you plan to help small businesses if you are elected?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I've got 3 things on my docket for my first 100 days in Congress. One of them is the U.S. Opportunity Corps, which would be like a Peace Corps for America, but that's not for small businesses. Another thing I want to do is create the Defense of Small Business Council in the United States House of Representatives. We have the SBA, but the SBA admittedly is focused on loans and the financial aspects of running a small business. I want to be able to effectively collect all the voices of small businesses, which represent nearly 50% of all workers in our country, and give them a voice, because they don't have the lobbying money and the lobbying power that the Amazons of the world do, that call a lot of the shots in Washington. I think most of our reviewers would agree with that. So I'm looking at myself going and saying, I will be that person to unify the voices of small to medium businesses and have a voice in Washington. Right now, they just don't. And as you can see from the pandemic, you could buy shoes and dresses at Target, but right down the street, a family-owned business for 30, 40 years, crushed and out of business from the pandemic. How is that fair? They don't have a voice. So I want to be able to make sure that there's a voice in Washington for that. And that's one of the things I'll be doing in my first 100 days.
You say in a political ad that we have had high crime numbers, but the actual statistics, when it comes to the FBI and what they track, speak otherwise. What do you have to say to that?
Are you talking about Massachusetts or are you talking about national?
I'm talking about overall. In 2019, it's been a 3rd year in a row that the number of violent crimes has decreased in the United States, and that's according to the FBI. Property crime also fell by 4.1%, marking the 17th straight year of declines. Are you trying to say that in Massachusetts, communities are just not safe anymore?
Well, you can look at averages, but what you need to look at is we have a city called Boston and we have a city called Lynn in my district. And where there are cities, I can counter you, because there are examples, there's statistics. Sometime after the riots, Seattle, I believe, had a 5 times rate of violent crime from their CHOP zone. This is an example of what happens when you remove police and defund them and dismantle them. So in city after city where these riots are being they're called peaceful protesters. I have statistics showing these peaceful protesters very often turn violent. And where you see cities like in New York and Chicago, you can see every weekend the shootings and the killings, it's way up. So when you look at on average, it may not be the average, the crime may have gone down on average in our country for a variety of reasons, but where you look at where Democrat mayors are calling the shots and applauding and encouraging violence from the progressive mob, you're seeing extremely higher numbers of crimes, looting and shootings and killings. And so that's my concern is the lawlessness that's being brought about by the constant barrage and attacks on police officers, of which my brother is a 30-year cop. And believe me, I haven't met a police officer that's not been totally demoralized and crushed by this whole thing. It's not fair for the small number of police that are bad apples.
John Paul Moran, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We have reached out to Seth Moulton's campaign to line up an interview of equal time.